Yes, you read that right. If you are on Coinbase, you are at risk. And I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about that and other exchanges after we watch a short video setup of what it is that I'm talking about, because I feel like Heidi does such a great job of explaining what the risks are.
Your Bitcoin on Coinbase is not actually your Bitcoin. It's a claim against Coinbase. And the FTX customer is being celebrated right now in headlines as receiving full repayment. They're getting paid back in November 2022 dollars, while Bitcoin has multiplied several times over since then. Customer accounts were worth roughly $8 billion at the time of collapse. Measured against today's prices, the opportunity loss is estimated to be multiples of the original whole. That is the successful bankruptcy, the one the press calls a win. So let me ask the obvious question. If the best case outcome of an exchange failure is getting paid back at the price your Bitcoin was worth 3 years ago, what exactly are we calling a recovery? Coming up,
I think this is a great point because I've been in Bitcoin, as many of you guys know that watch my channel for, on a regular basis. I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. Now, I had been studying it. I had first heard about it back in about 2010, but I got into it around 2013. And so I've been through, this is my fourth bear market, three of them, very, very deep bear markets. This one's at about 52, 53% in terms of a dip, which, by the way, is incredibly boring. I mean, this sideways chop is just like, it's kind of killing me right now. I'm not even that motivated to make videos right now, even though I know that in some ways it's a great time to make videos because those of you guys that are enthusiasts like I am are looking at this as a buying opportunity, which I totally believe that it is. But I think that Heidi's point here is very well accentuated because one of the things that I've noticed, especially as I, kind of re-engaged with my YouTube platform late last year, is a lot of the people that I'm talking to, private clients wise, guys, you guys that are watching my videos pretty regularly, is that the people that have gotten into Bitcoin in the last couple of years in this last cycle are not very interested in self-custody. And so I have sort of up until probably the last month or so kind of written that off like, hey, it's kind of a thing. I'm very passionate about self-custody, but I know not a lot of people necessarily are. So the main point that I want to drive home, in this video is that, number one, if you don't hold your Bitcoin, if it's in an ETF or it's in a stock like Stretch or MSTR or an ETF like Bybit, you don't hold your Bitcoin. You actually hold a claim on your Bitcoin. And so she does a great job of talking about that a little bit more.
The mechanical, legal, on-chain version of what actually happens to your crypto when the platform holding it fails. By the end, you'll have a tiered plan for moving from unsecured creditor with a dashboard to actually owner of your assets. So let's start with the body count, because the pattern matters more than any single name. Mt. Gox failed in February 2014 and lost roughly 650,000 Bitcoin. 12 years later.
Yeah, that was my first bear market because Bitcoin went from, I think, $1,100 down to $300 during that, and it was a real crisis. I mean, I even remember how scared I was because I was like, I didn't really understand the ins and outs of Bitcoin like I do now. I was still very much in the early learning curve. And so it almost spooked me out of my position, but it didn't.
Later, creditors are still being repaid, with the court pushing the final deadline out yet again. Most are still waiting. 12 years later. Celsius told a different version of the same story. They froze withdrawals in June 2022 and filed bankruptcy a month later, owing customers $4.7 billion. One critic put it cleanly: this wasn't innovation, it was a bank run, and depositors were just another unsecured lender. That word, unsecured, is the entire game, and we'll come back to it. Then FTX imploded in November 2022. The bankruptcy filings showed FTX was holding a tiny fraction of the Bitcoin and Ethereum customers thought it had on the platform. Listen to that again. Customers believed their balances were backed, when in reality, they were backed by...
That's the thing. When you log into, and this is something that I wanted to go into a little bit, because I'm not just picking on Bitcoin, or I'm not just picking on Coinbase. I could be talking about any of the exchanges. It could be Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, any of the Binance. I prefer, if you're going to use an exchange, to use a Bitcoin-only exchange like Swan or River.com. Those are two, really, really good exchanges. And the thing that I do like about both of them is that they also will encourage you to take your Bitcoin into your own self-custody as well. Because again, not your keys, not your coins. And I'm going to talk about here in just a second, basically like how to use a hardware wallet like the Bitbox to get your coins off of the exchange. Really what a hardware wallet is, and just how uncomplicated it actually is, contrary to what a lot of people sort of make it out to be.
almost nothing. Bybit in February 2025 was a different failure mode entirely. The largest single theft in crypto history, with $1.5 billion in Ethereum drained from a cold wallet by North Korea's Lazarus Group. We'll come back to Bybit because how they got beaten matters more than the dollar figure. Now, the legal piece.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is not only are you you have a claim, you're an unsecured creditor, but also you just don't know how, like what happened with Bybit. Like there was actually a hack, and it turns out that those guys were using Ledger. I think it was Ledger and or Trezor wallets, like basically just consumer grade hardware wallets that have known vulnerabilities. By the way, for custodying, tens, if not hundreds of millions, if not billions worth of Bitcoin. So you just, don't trust, verify is a trope in the Bitcoin space for a reason.
Because this is where most people get blindsided. When a bank fails in the United States, FDIC steps in. You get up to $250,000 back within days. The system is ugly, but it works for depositors. When a crypto exchange fails, none of that applies. The FDIC has stated it directly in writing. Their insurance does not protect against the failure of any non-bank entity, including crypto custodians, exchanges, brokers, or wallet providers. And it does not apply to crypto assets, period.
I think a lot of you guys probably know all of that already.
SIPC, the protection that covers your brokerage account if your stockbroker goes under, also does not apply because the SIPC president has confirmed crypto is not a security under the relevant statute. Now,
so the only protection that we have is self-custody. Now, I know from a lot of the conversations that I've had one-to-one with a lot of you guys that are my private clients, a lot of people get really nervous about, self-custody because they think it's like this big, hairy, scary thing. So so essentially when you're doing self-custody, essentially what you're doing is you're getting a hardware wallet like this Bitbox, which is a sponsor of the channel. And I'll leave a link in the description below, and I'll talk more about them at the end of the video as well. But essentially what you're doing when you're entering into self-custody is you're purchasing a hardware wallet. Now, there are two main functions of a hardware wallet like the Bitbox. The first of which is that it basically is a separate computer from maybe like your laptop or whatever computer you're using, your smartphone, that actually, number one, generates your private keys. So you hear the term all the time, not your keys, not your coins. So essentially what a hardware wallet is doing is generating your 24-word seed phrase. Your seed phrase is your private keys, or are your private keys, however you want to say that. So you're using it when you're setting it up, you're using it to generate your 24-word seed phrase. And then once you have your 24-word seed phrase, you're using your hardware wallet as a signing device. So whenever you want to spend or send Bitcoin, you have to use your hardware wallet as the device that signifies to the blockchain that you actually own that address, that you actually own this Bitcoin, and you're the only person or the only entity that has the ability to do that. So that is self-custody, in a sense. Getting a hardware wallet is just those two things. Now, there are other layers of security that I go into detail when I'm, doing self-custody coaching with my clients, trying to obfuscate your online identity using a proper VPN, using a password manager. Also, getting into the advanced levels of this, maybe where you're wanting to do, running a node or doing, other things. I'm blanking off the top of my head right now. So that's really, really important. And it's not as hairy and as scary as a lot of people make it out to be. So I just wanted to do a quick video about that today. It's not a huge, hairy, big deal to do self-custody. This is something that I actually walk my clients through, setting up a Bitbox hardware wallet or a cold card. Air-gapped transactions is sort of another next layer. But I think the main thing for those of you guys that are freaked out about self-custody, it's not a big deal. Just get a hardware wallet like the Bitbox. Again, the link is in the video description below, and my audience gets a 5% discount off of that. And I'll talk about them more in just a second at an ad at the end of the video. But, I want to just kind of reinvigorate this conversation around self-custody because it is really, really important. If you haven't heard, people talk about, the Lebanon banking crisis or the Cyprus banking crisis, we in the West think that these things can never happen, but they can happen, and they have happened. And I think that in the future, there's a risk of them happening. And the other piece of that is that, self-custody is not difficult to get started with. And then you can sort of make your setup more sophisticated as you go through. Now, if you are a regular viewer of this channel, I work with millennials and Gen X to help them incorporate Bitcoin more deeply into their personal finances. So we talk about things like self-custody. We talk about the buy, borrow, die strategy. We talk about, planning for retirement as part of the FIRE movement and those kinds of things. If you have burning questions around that, you want somebody to review your particular situation, or you just want to talk to another Bitcoiner, I do offer one-to-one coaching sessions. So the link is in the video description below for that. And then I also have a micro newsletter I publish about once a week. It's a one paragraph, no fluff, all aimed at stuff like this. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Real quick, you guys know I talk about the importance of self-custody all the time. And I know a lot of you guys are totally overwhelmed by it. That's why I love our channel sponsor, BitBox Hardware Wallets. If you want one of the most secure cold storage Bitcoin wallets that's also super user-friendly, the BitBox O2 Nova is for you. When I'm recommending hardware wallets to my audience, they must have two criteria: Bitcoin only as an option, and then also they must have fully open source and auditable source code. The BitBox meets both of these criteria and is the ultimate self-sovereignty tool. You can think of it as a Swiss vault for your Bitcoin private keys. It's USB-C and literally works with everything: Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Android. It has an easy-to-read tempered glass display and Swiss bank vault levels of security. This is one of my favorite Bitcoin wallets in my 13 plus years in the Bitcoin industry. And guess what? If you click on the link in the description, you can use the code BRAD for 5% off. That's right, 5% off if you use the code BRAD. This is the perfect gift if you want to encourage your friends and family into holding their Bitcoin private keys and sovereign self-custody. The link is in the description below. Buy a BitBox O2 Nova today, unless you want to lose all your Bitcoin to the banksters.